Hey, what's happening? Chris Martinez. I am the host of Operation Agency Freedom, and today I've got a very special treat. I'm bringing on my longest standing employee, Erin Rohner. She is now the head of operations as well as customer experience for us. And I've known Erin for a very, very long time. She and I both worked together at my last job. Yeah, like my last official job, which was at a newspaper in Southern California called the Daily Breeze and the Long Beach Press Telegram. It was two newspapers that were in one office, and I was working in both of those. And basically, my job was head of digital sales, and Aaron was kind of like the project manager, operations manager, kind of like account manager, but she basically made sure that all of the digital sales that we made were getting fulfilled. So she was kind of like overseeing the team that would make sure that those clients were getting what they paid for. So I worked with Erin alongside her for like 6 months. Then I got let go from the newspaper because they were making budget cuts, and I think they also hated me, and I hated them. And I started doing my marketing agency full time. Well, a year later, I reached out to Erin on Facebook. I hadn't talked to her since I left, and I said, "Hey, are you doing anything? I saw you had your first son, and are you looking for some part-time work?" Long story short, she ended up coming on board, basically doing all of our customer service for our marketing agency at the time. And then she grew, and at one point she was running our entire agency while I was focusing on Dude. Then she came in and she became our head of customer experience, and now she's just growing like crazy. She's in an MBA program. So today's episode is basically all about interviewing Erin. You're going to hear her great story, and she'll tell you about all the things that she's learned along the way. So let's head over to the interview. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. Look who's here with me. It's the amazing Erin Rohner. If you're one of our
Hi.
clients, if you're one of our clients, you've spoken to her before. You've probably gotten emails from her as well. Well, you definitely gotten emails from her before if you're one of our clients. But this is Erin's very first podcast interview ever. I can't believe it. She's spoken at our events before several times. So she's been on stage. Usually it's the other way around. You do podcasts before you speak on stage. So needless to say, this should be a breeze for her. So welcome, Erin. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, awesome. So for those that don't already know who you are, let everybody know kind of like what you do at Dude, and then we'll just kind of take it from there.
Okay. So I am head of OpEx for Dude. And that just basically means that I make sure the operations keep flowing, the customers are happy, and I also provide consulting for both operations and CX to our existing clients, which is the best part of the job.
Awesome. I thought working with me would be the best part of the job, but whatever, it's fine. I'm sure I'm like second or third on the list. But in the intro, I let everybody know you and I have known each other for a long time, and you are
Yeah.
by far our longest standing team member. So we met at the Daily Breeze in the Press Telegram in that very cold office in Torrance.
With no windows.
No window. Well, no, you had a view. It wasn't a nice view. At least you had like some view. I had to look over that miserable sales team every day. Um,
Yes.
so give us your background. Like, how did you end up coming to the Telegram? Actually, where did you grow up? And then we'll fast forward to the Daily Breeze and the Press Telegram.
Okay, how far back should we go? So I was born in Germany. My dad was in the military. Then
Nice.
I lived in Ohio. And so I lived in Ohio until I was about 10, which is funny because now I've lived in California longer, but I still consider myself from Ohio, even though I've lived in California much longer.
Yes.
But I was really young and I worked at a performing arts theater and was looking for something else. And I knew someone who worked at the newspaper.
Hmm.
And I went and interviewed over there for an admin position in the sales department. And I got that and I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. Um, Interesting industry to work in, though, because a lot changed, obviously, in the newspaper industry,
Yeah.
just since I was working there.
Wait,
And
so
then,
what year did you start at the newspaper?
oh gosh, That is an excellent question. I started in 2008,
Okay.
I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2008. Just a youngster. And yes, I worked there for a while. That was a really difficult place to work, but that was where you and I met,
Hmm.
which turned out to be awesome for me. I went out for a little while because I had my son, and then you reach out to me on Facebook,
Hmm.
which
I
at the
remember it.
time I thought was really funny. So this was 2013.
13. Yeah.
And I remember saying, "Oh my gosh, I got a job offer from Facebook," which was so fantastic. But then 2013, I thought that was just so progressive.
Wait, was it
So,
13 or was it 14?
well, I
It
had
was
had my son in November of 2013, so it's 2014.
okay,
Yeah,
2014. Yeah,
2014.
because Jackson
Yeah,
was like right around a one, I think.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yep. So you reach out to me, and I had decided to not go back to the newspaper. So the timing was perfect. And starting with you for a website in 5 days, just as customer support specialist, I think was my title, and I work part time
You were so
and
special. We had to make you the specialist.
so special, and worked a lot with our team in the Philippines. And so I would
Yes.
have
That.
baby duty all day, and then I would be up past midnight talking to our developer in the Philippines.
Yep.
So that was a whole new experience for me. I'd never worked in digital marketing
Well,
and
that's not
everything was
entirely
kind of
true
new.
because you would work on the campaigns of the newspaper, but it was definitely different.
You're right. You're right. So yes, I was introduced to SEO and PPC and all of that at the newspaper. But what I really retained, can't be sure. So I definitely learned a lot when I started with you, and jumping on WordPress and changing dates on websites because businesses changed their hours or whatever. I just thought I was awesome because
I
I
didn't
could
know
do
that.
WordPress.
You would go in and update the website yourself?
I would.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I was up at midnight
Yeah.
working on websites. So yeah, it was really
That's great.
cool. Really cool experience. And fast forward, I got a ton of experience just talking to clients on the in website in 5 days, those clients, and how passionate they were because they were small businesses and it was their livelihood, and they just sometimes needed to talk on the phone with me for an hour, just like a therapy session. So I just definitely got a lot of customer support experience
Yeah,
working with website in 5 days.
for sure.
And yeah, and then I switched over to Dude. I don't know if how much of that transition you want to talk about, but
No, I mean, we definitely want to talk about it. So I'll just kind of frame what was going on. So I had grown Dude. I think this was around 2019, and Aaron was running basically the agency, the website in 5 days agency. She was pretty much running the whole thing because I had checked out once I saw that Dude was starting to take off and like we were making way more money. And then I recognized that well, Dude had grown in revenue. I think we were like eight or $900,000 in annual revenue, but we were not very profitable. And then I learned about this concept of having a leadership team, and I was like, holy crap, I definitely need a leadership team because I'm trying to do everything myself. And that's when I
yeah,
was like, okay, well, the perfect person to run customer experience and make sure that our churn is down is Erin. So I basically brought her over from the website in 5 days company and said, just, we're going to leave that. Like it's going to sink or swim on its own. And then Erin came over and she was working as our head of customer experience. And she
yeah,
was able to get our churn down like dramatically, like really, really fast. And that was like your first intro to Dude. And then of course
yeah,
in March, so like you came over, I think we officially unveiled you in like January of 2020.
yeah,
And you did you
yeah.
come down to the office as well, to our Mexico
I
office for
did.
the
I
first
came
time?
down February 2020 and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to come down here all this time. This is fantastic." Little
Yes.
did we know.
Yeah, and then March 2020 happens and the world goes upside down and everything shuts down. And then also we
But
were in a crisis too, because we lost so many of our clients like overnight, and we had to
Yeah,
figure out
what
how
a
we were going to
way to
survive.
kick off your customer experience leadership role, jumping into it during a pandemic. But I'll tell you that the compassion that I was talking about having learned with the website in 5 days clients, because I knew how important their business was to them, I feel like I was able to apply that to that situation because
Hmm.
clients that were going through such an insane time and unprecedented situation with business, with the world,
Yeah, and
and
just
just being
scary
able
too.
to be there for them.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah,
made a
that's something.
difference.
That's something you do way better than me. Is just your patience and your compassion for people. 'Cause I'm a little bit impatient, and I can be a little bit short with people sometimes. So it's
No.
it's way better for you to be in contact with them, especially about billing issues, or they can't figure out how to put their credit card in or whatever. That's all you. But you do a lot more than that. So,
Yeah,
and what's great is that you now train other agencies how to run their customer experience and operations department. So
yeah.
let's start with customer experience, actually, because that's where we initially had you in your leadership seat, and you built out that whole department, and it was just like amazing. Um, what is something, maybe it's a couple things, that most agencies don't recognize they need to put in place when they have a customer experience manager? Like when they have somebody like
Yeah.
you in their
Uh-huh.
company, what's
Uh-huh.
something that they like? It's mind blowing, or that they never even recognized they needed.
As far as their just overall customer experience and what they need to
Yeah,
implement for their clients
yeah, yeah.
is, yeah. So one really big thing that I'm always telling people, and then you just see a light bulb, is that you have to look at your operations. What you know this in and out, you know what's happening. Your clients don't know. They need the education. They need you to walk slowly with them and hold their hand.
Hmm.
They need to just have all of this laid out for them. And people realize, wait a second, that's what I would want if I was a client. So when I'm
Oh
walking
yeah.
them through, I say, put yourself in your client's shoes. Now, what do you need to make this an excellent experience?
Yep.
So I use the example of if you bought something online
Hmm.
and you never got a confirmation email that it went through, you'd be wondering if they got your order. And then if you never received any information about it shipping, you'd wonder what was happening. And me, because I would be obsessive about it, I would be on Amazon. Let me talk to the customer service. Did you get my order? And that's what our clients are doing. The clients are, what's going on with this, what's going on with that, what's going on with this, which really takes up a lot of people's time. So the account managers, the CSMs, if they're having to answer all of these questions and do all of these hand holding things that we could even automate,
Yeah.
that we can set up before the client even asks, like that's just it just rolls into a whole bigger snowball. But looking at it and what your client needs and going ahead of the client just to make sure that you fill any of those potholes,
Hmm.
that's a really big one to focus on. And that small change makes a world of difference for retention, for long-term client retention.
Yeah, I love that. I think. Well, you tell me based on your experience. Like, I think a lot of the times the agency owner, maybe they're like really technical, or they're good at ads or whatever. And so, as you mentioned, like it's second nature to them, and then they
Yeah.
don't even stop to think, right? Like it's not something. It's not like it's impossible for them to do it, but because of the nature of who they are, they kind of forget that not everybody is as technically inclined as them,
Yeah,
which is like
exactly.
now you're way more technically inclined. But I always
Yeah.
love that approach where you could, kind of look at it from the customer's perspective, as you put, and then be like, hey, like this doesn't make them feel very good.
Yeah.
Oh, and the
Yeah,
other thing, sorry,
exactly.
one more thing is that, today, every client that signs up with your marketing agency and they want leads or a website or whatever, they have all been burned. at some point in time.
Yes.
It's like
Right.
impossible to not have been burned by some digital scumbag at some point in time. And so, in the back of their mind, even though they trust you when they sign the contract, at some point in time, there's going to be a little bit of buyer's remorse. Like,
Yeah, so
ooh,
true.
is this going to happen
Mhm.
like the last time?
Yep.
So if you don't proactively, like, or if you don't onboard them properly and say, hey, these are the things that we're going to do, and it's kind of left up to their own imagination, eventually that negativity is going to crawl in. And then then you as the agency, you almost have to dig yourself out of that hole to start to rebuild trust.
Yeah. The hole that somebody else dug,
Yeah.
you're having to fill it in. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and the the key to that is listening to your customer, knowing who your customer is.
Hmm.
And so making sure that everyone that's client facing knows how to be an active listener to hear those little things. Because if you're talking to a brand new client and they say something about, having been unable to reach their previous company, the communication wasn't very good, whatever it
Hmm.
might be, that needs to be a light bulb where you
Hmm.
say, okay, that client is going to need close interaction. I'm going to need to stay in touch with them so that they know that I'm here for them and get back to them quickly, which we should do for everybody. But you might want to make a little bit of adjustment to do that one extra thing for that client,
Yeah.
which is not going to take up a lot of resources, but it's going to make a world of difference for that client.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was just creating a training for our clients, and actually, that was one of the things that I put in there. This is kind of like a sneaky way that you can figure out how to like position your agency so that your clients are like, wow, I really want to work with them. You go to Yelp and you look at all your competitors. You go to Google and you look at all your competitors and you look at all the one-star reviews and you see all
Yeah.
the things that people complained about.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then,
that's a great idea.
and
Yeah.
then when you go to present your company, you say like if all the one-star reviews are like, they never ever get back to me. Like, we get back to you within 24 hours guaranteed. And if we don't, we're going to credit you $100,
I
right?
love that. I'm
So
going to steal that.
you create a list. It's in the training. I mean, you have access to
Yeah.
it. But you literally just go through and you create a list of all the things that all of the people have complained about for your competitors. And then
Yeah.
when you do your sales presentation, you hit on every single one of those.
Yeah. That's
And then,
perfect.
dude, you'll close everybody. It's awesome.
My brain is just going where I can think of workflow automations that you take those key things that you found
Hmm.
that clients didn't like about something and you somehow add it into your automation for a new client,
Hmm.
where you're just sending them an email that says this, sending them a PDF about that or whatever, but it touches each one of those points.
Yeah,
That's a super simple way to address that on the CX side too.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. All right. So I have another question for you because when you came to us, well, no, I should say when we brought you over to the dude side, you were a team of one, right? So you were
Yes.
basically the only person running the entire customer experience team. And
Yep.
now, you've managed many, many people. You've hired and trained many, many people, different skill levels, different countries as well. What are some of the leadership lessons that you've learned over the past 10 years that we've been working
Yeah.
together?
That's oh my gosh. That has been the hugest accomplishment that I feel very grateful for. Working
100%.
with Dude and working with you is how much I have learned and grown on a leadership level and how it applies to my personal life too. It just all of that overflows. And I think the biggest one, well, there's a few things. So first of all, being the head of yourself is interesting, right? Because you do your own thing and you know what works, and then you bring on somebody and you have to let go of the reins and you have to trust. So learning how to trust people and
Hmm.
letting go is a really big thing.
Hmm.
And then another part is I feel like there's a lesson with every single step of growth, but there comes a time when your very first hire no longer may be a good fit for whatever reason.
Hmm.
That was, I think, my first true challenging lesson as a leader of really seeing that what is best for the company and where the company's going and the growth that's happening, and someone who you've trained and someone who you've built a relationship with may not be the best fit anymore, and how to manage that. You
Mhm,
have guided me through that, but that was a really difficult one. And there's
mhm.
that stuff like that that I really love working with our clients on, because I can empathize and
Yeah.
say, I know what you're going through. I've been there. I've been at that point of leadership. And then another part is just confidence. I
Mhm.
mean, this is something that me and a million other people, have to work on continuously, but it's having confidence in, I earned my seat at the table. I didn't make it in this leadership team by accident.
Yeah.
And everything that comes along with that, and reminding myself of that. And again, when I'm talking to a client and they're feeling like they're not doing great in their position, and I can empathize. I've been there.
Mhm.
This is what we can do to get you out. So the experiences that I have just are amazing, and I'm really grateful for that. I don't even remember what your original question was. I kind of went on a
Just
tangent,
like
but
no, I just asked you leadership lessons, and those were 2
yeah,
amazing leadership lessons.
yeah,
I want to talk about the one that you were just talking about, like, getting the confidence. So, what are some things that you found that help you, that might inspire other people, but that to help you build up that confidence?
yeah. One of them is exactly that. What I said is reminding myself that I'm not a part of dude leadership team just because Chris likes me and wants to pay me money.
There's nobody else,
I'm
and I say, "Oh, I guess Aaron gets it."
so remembering that, and then at the same time, it's just pushing yourself.
Mhm.
So you said that I've never been on a podcast before. So when you asked me about this, my initial is like, oh, but then I'm like, I have to say yes because that's how I'm going to grow.
Yeah.
And so leadership is incredibly hard, and it's not something that I realized was so hard. And the more I learn, and the more things that I take on, I realize how hard it is. But just saying yes and believing in myself as much as I can, and pushing through, almost a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
if I push myself and then I see I can do it, I did do it.
Mhm.
This is what I learned. This is what I could do better. And that's a big one too. Is as I'm always in the growth mindset, both professionally and personally. And so how can I learn from that situation? What can I do better? How can I apply it to the next situation? And so just being confident that even when you don't feel confident, you really know what you're doing and you have it in you, and you can do hard things. That's what I tell my kids all the time. We can do hard things.
Nice. That's so great. We should put that on the wall. Like, we'll get it printed
Yeah.
up, put it on the wall. All right. Well, then the other thing that you said was the pain of having to let go of your first hire, right? And
Yeah.
it's funny because entrepreneurs hear this all the time, that the people that get you to this point aren't always the ones that are going to get you to the next level, right? So we kind of
Yeah.
know that there aren't people that are going to be able to rise to the occasion or rise to the level that we need for the next stage of our business.
Right.
But it doesn't make it any easier when you have to do it. It's like just one of those things. I
Yeah.
think part of the part of the thing that makes it really challenging is that you hire these people and you've gone through so many struggles together, and you really really see potential in them, and you do everything that you possibly can, and then they fail, and you kind of feel like you failed because
Yeah.
they
Oh
failed,
yeah.
right? Because you've got such an emotional connection to them. And honestly, like, if you don't feel that, I think you're kind of weird. Like, if you spend all this time with these people and you have no like sadness about them not rising to the occasion, I think
Yeah.
that's a little weird. But like,
Yeah.
just talk more about your experience in that, because that's something that everybody will go through at some point. or they have
Mhm.
gone through it already. And so we want to make sure that they don't feel like they're alone.
Yeah. Yeah, something that we've talked about too, you and I, is that you can't want something more than somebody wants it for themselves.
Yes,
And that's
100%.
really hard because sometimes you can see potential in someone and say, I know that they can do this, but you can't do it for them. People, you can show them the way, but people have to step up. And if they can't get there and you have to make those difficult decisions, it's so hard to not internalize that
Hmm.
and look at, what could I have done better? Where did I go wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Um, but at the same time, as a leader, and this is something that I'm actually working on as a goal currently too, is making sure that I provide that feedback to the the team so that they know exactly what the expectations are, they know exactly if they're hitting goals, they know exactly what they need to do, because then if a situation like that arises, which is really difficult and I am going to hate it regardless, but I can say I know that I supported them, I guided them, they knew what the expectations were.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what you have to lean on, that you provided everything for them. Whether or not they took that extra step is up to them. And making sure that you are able to base things on facts, not feelings, because the feelings is where things get fuzzy and it's hard
Yeah.
to continue forward. And then keep your eye on those facts, and also keep your eye on the ultimate goal. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, like you said, not everyone's going to be able to continue on towards that next mile marker or whatever it is. But that we continue to try,
Yeah.
and we don't give up on people. You said too, you're not going to get fired, you fire yourself. So that's why we're facts, not feelings.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that people know what the expectations are, so that we as leaders can feel like um, we're giving them the best possible opportunity.
I love it. And on that note, we are going to end the episode. I feel like we're gonna need
Awesome.
to like create a new website because I see facts not feelings T-shirts just flying off the shelves.
Yes, and
We
we
need
can
to
do
start.
hard things.
We can do hard things. See, we're just gonna have motivational T-shirts
Yes.
by dude. That'll be a secondary
Just
business
open up
real
our
quick.
side gig. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks so much, Aaron, for being on here. Great job for
Yeah.
your
Thank
very first
you.
ever podcast. I'm
Thank
sure
you so
you're.
much.
I'm sure Rhonda's gonna just plaster this all over social media. I can't wait to see what Rhonda's her sister, by the way. So,
She's my
anyways,
biggest cheerleader. I love her.
she
Yeah. Thank
absolutely
you so
is.
much, Chris.
All right. Well, great job. So, for
Thank
everybody
you.
that's listening, hopefully you get the chance to meet Erin. Reach out to her if you ever meet her or see her in person. She's like the nicest person on earth. So, thanks again, Erin. We'll talk to you later. Hey, thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe to the podcast and also share it with friends, family, and basically anyone you know who will find the same value in this episode as you do. So, to get the latest from me, then let's connect on social media on the Facebooks at facebook.com/dude agency or Instagram at dudeagency.io. Then you can also find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and even TikTok. Yes, I'm that cool. We are on TikTok. Finally, go to our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. Register for live trainings on how to run a highly profitable agency, and you can see exactly how we help marketing agencies fix their operations and scale to 8 figures and beyond. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time.